Senator Bozeman, thank you. Starbase, I've taken an interest in, General Nordhaus. But following the CR, our fault, not yours, we've experienced these temporary closures of Starbases, and that is troublesome to me. And again, we'll do everything we can one more time to make sure we don't have another continuing resolution. But how long, how can the current funding get this program through this fiscal year? What do you expect? Will there be another pause, or can we get through the fiscal year with the money that you have?
Senator Moran, first off, I'd like to give a shout out to both of your adjutants generals as Starbases go across the 54. There's 90 locations, and General Venerity and General Bridges, once again, just do amazing work. And so as we look at the Starbase program, I don't have the exact dollars, so we'll have to get back to you. But I know how important those programs are, the STEM, and what they bring to the fight and to our youth as we get after building our youth so that they have those engineering and mathematical skills that we hopefully bring into the National Guard or to our armed forces so that we can have the best and the brightest and the most skilled, capable people to defend our homeland, respond in the homeland, and win our nation's wars if needed. I'll get back to you on the statistics and facts.
Thank you very much. We were discouraged to learn that Starbases were going to conclude their work, and enough money, fortunately, was found to keep them temporarily going. I would like to see that we make it through at least this fiscal year and give Congress another chance to, and the administration, to get its work done.
And thank you, Senator, for the support.
You're welcome. My final question is of the leaders here who have not answered this question, for the record and for our use with our colleagues, what's your experience with the continuing resolution, what the consequences? Help us make the case that a continuing resolution is not, I mean, we've never done what has happened this past year has never happened before. Tell us why it shouldn't happen again. And I'm not sure, several of you have spoken about this, but if you have something you'd like to make the case for us or help us make the case, I'd be glad to hear your answers. General Anderson, you seemed anxious.
Yeah, well, from the maritime side of the table, Senator, we'll,
yes, sir.
I have three different areas really in the CR, and again, thank you for the NAGRIA under these conditions. That was certainly helpful. But where it most affects us is people. As you know, with reservists, our most precious resource is time. And what I lose is time with reservists under a CR. How? First of all, the active duty support orders, those have been turned off for the rest of the fiscal year, or any additions to that, I should say. So some of that would certainly affect our exercises and training. What we see as we integrate with the active component, as they have to reduce some of their exercises due to their operational funds being reduced, is that now there are limited opportunities for our reservists to train alongside our active component, which is exactly how we're going to operate in Indo-PACOM. And then lastly, we've had to discontinue our enlistment incentive bonuses for reservists. So now there's reserves that wanted to stay in, they haven't been able to sign up, and we're hoping for the next fiscal year that we are able to keep them on board.
And as his amphibious partner here, thank you for saying the naval services. I would say, again, I would echo the thanks for the NAGRIA in the CR. Those are very C-130 informed. They're a year old. When the committee made count, when we were not executing strength, we're in a different situation now. We made end strength in April. We're going to end the fiscal year above authorized end strength, but within controls due to the success of our recruiting effort. And so that reality doesn't necessarily carry through in the process when we're taking a CR and carrying it forward, if that makes sense. Thank you.
And Senator, for the Army Reserve, again, it's just like my teammates. It's our reserve pay accounts most affected. I think with the CR, it was about $186 million less than our president's budget submission. And so that affects cutting orders, soldiers that were scheduled to go to school, exercises, you know, all of that affects the predictability of our formation, which really is the most important piece for us. And if I could just share one thing to Senator Bozeman's point on partnership with reserve forces. So we do a lot of partnership. Don't mean to veer into this, sir, but we do a lot of partnership with other nations' reserve forces. I was just in Poland. We partner with the Estonians, the Philippines, of course, our Five Eye partners. But last year, we hosted a forum during AUSA in October where we invited many reserve force partners to come. We had, from many nations were there. And my British teammate, Mark Lancaster, two-star general, I thought he said one of the most, it was a poignant statement. And he said, the war in Ukraine right now is a war being fought between two reserve armies. And so all of us, we take that to account, and we're laser focused on making sure our young men and women are ready. Just wanted to share that with the committee.
Sir, from the Air Force Reserve, the biggest thing that the year-long CR affects us with is the ability to be predictable and stable. So that's the bread and butter of the Air Force Reserve, the ability to know in August that I'm going to request time off from my civilian employer in October, and knowing that I'm going to have those orders available to me. What's ultimately happened is we've driven behavior changes where reservists will no longer sign up to serve in October because they can't adequately predict that they're going to have orders to work. Likewise, from a training perspective, when I look at exercise planning, we are very hesitant to plan on exercises in August and September because if a CR exists long-term, or if we get marked later in the year, as in this year, we're likely not going to have the funds or the manpower to be able to participate in those exercises. Much like the Air National Guard said, and in my opening statement, we are likely to ground our airplanes the first week of September this year because we're $26 million short of executing our flying hour program. It's going to directly affect the degree of how ready we are, sir.
Moment of sunshine has come to an end, and my temporary position is disappearing. But thank you all for your presence here today, your leadership, and we have the greatest regard for you and for the men and women you lead. Thank you.